tonight. He is from Seattle. I think a lot of you know who he is. I was at his first open mic. You guys, he's been in the Seattle International Comedy Competition. He drives everywhere, does comedy. He works super hard. He's so funny. Please welcome to the stage Birungi, everybody. Yeah.
One more time for Chris. And one more time for Vanessa. Make some noise for Vanessa. What's up, Seattle? How are you? Early show. You good? Yeah, good. I see a lot of familiar faces. Thank you for coming out. Usually headliners have credits. They're like, you've seen this guy on Netflix. You've seen this guy on America's Got Talent. You saw me at the farmer's market someday. I'm your neighborhood comedian. Well, we're here. To be fair, I did appear in the Seattle Times once. Yeah, I was in there. No, it was a job inquiry. I was in there. Thank you for coming out. You guys, is everybody from Seattle? Make some noise. You're gonna shout out your city, town, village on the count of 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Okay, we got Puyallup. I heard Texas over there. Okay, what's up, my man? You just visiting or what's? Oh, okay. Texas, Puyallup. What else we got? You're the proudest Puyallup I ever met. You're proud of it. That's good. You're much more proud than the Texan guy, which is it's pretty surprising. So Puyallup, Texas. What else is in the house? Portland, good. Brooklyn? Okay, we got the Africans in the house. They put them in the back. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Seattle is an interesting place. Seattle gets accused of, the passive aggressiveness. You heard this? Like Seattle people, they act friendly, but they're not. They say you're going to hang out, but they never call you. But in my experience, I think that's an unfair thing to say. Seattle people are the most friendly people I ever met. I'll tell you why. About 5-6 years ago, many years ago, I moved here from Uganda, all right? I'm in Uganda. I'm flying over here. But before I fly, I need someone to pick me up from the airport. So I didn't know anybody here. So I went to a website that matches you up with other people that can pick you up. That website is called Craigslist. I was in Uganda. I was like, this looks reputable, yeah. And I met a guy on there. His name is Jeff. Jeff is your stereotypical Seattle dude. Like, he wears a tank top and sandals in the rain. And Jeff was like, I'll pick you up. We've never met. We're just chatting online. I traveled 23 hours from Uganda to America, from Uganda to Seattle. I get to SeaTac Airport. Guess who was at the airport? Jeff. He didn't stop there. Jeff was like, I'm going to show you the city. It's like, you do that for me? He takes me to the first Starbucks, Pike Place. I taste the coffee. Tastes like the coffee everywhere else. Jeff is like, bro, you ain't seen nothing yet. He's like, you have to check out the Space Needle. I'm like, Space Needle? I've never heard of the Space Needle at this point. We drive to the Space Needle. We go to the very top. I can see the entire city. I'm impressed. Jeff is like, bro, you ain't seen nothing yet. You have to check out the Underground Tour. Do you know they have the Underground Tour here? Yeah, he's like, bro, you have to check out the Underground Tour. I was like, bro, black people don't do Underground Tours. Are you kidding me? Hell no. Our last Underground Tour was in 1865. Your tour guide is named John. Call me when your tour guide is named Harriet Tubman. Yeah. That's the only Underground Tour I'm doing. Y'all been to Pike Place? Y'all been? Yeah, Texas. Have you toured? Did you check it out? Yeah, check it out. Pike Place is an interesting place, but I think it's deceiving Because when you move to Seattle the first time, you go to Pike Place, and Pike Place has everybody over there. You know, you can see it from the sights and the sounds. Like you see white people, brown people, Jamaicans, everybody. You can even hear it. You hear French, you hear Arabic, you hear everything, and you're like, oh my God, Seattle is the most diverse city I ever been to. And then you cross 3rd Avenue. White. I'm like, yo, is this white people's Wakanda? I have a theory. I think those people you see at Pike Place, they're paid actors. Yeah. They have one of everybody. One Jamaican guy, one Arab guy. Pike Place has a lot of activities. One of them is, have you seen the fish throwing? Yeah, 2 major attractions at Pike Place. The first one is the first Starbucks. The second one is the fish throwing. Question for you, Seattle people. Is the fish throwing supposed to be impressive? Is that a thing? You want to impress me? Let the guys who work at Starbucks go throw the fish. And let the guys who do the fish throwing go work at Starbucks. I want to see someone catch a hot cup of coffee from 9 feet away. That's a show I'll never forget. Seattle. Oh, man. All right, let me introduce myself. I do have a name. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We're going to get really intimate here. I don't like starting shows with my name. I don't. I'll tell you why. I get uneasy introducing myself on stage and in real life. Because I think there are 2 types of names. Let's say your name is John. Any Johns here tonight? All these white people don't want John? You lying motherfuckers. We have a John over there. What's up? Yeah, let's say your name is John, which it is. It's like you meet someone, they ask you, hey, what's your name? You go, John. And then you jump right into the conversation. My name is Birungi. That shit don't work for me, John. I'm telling you, every time I meet people, they ask me, hey, what's your name? I go, John. They go, wow. Oh, my God, Birungi. Oh, my God, that's such a beautiful name. What does it mean? They always do the squeaky voice. Oh, my God, Birungi? What does it mean? What is the legend of Birungi? I'll tell you what Birungi means. Birungi is a simple name. It's simple translation. Birungi means good luck. Simple translation, all right? Birungi means good luck. Good luck getting a job. Good luck getting to the airport. Which I think is weird. It's weird that Birungi cannot get me through the airport. But Birungi can get me a job at the airport. Some of you are looking at me like, I thought he looked familiar. SeaTac, gate 36. We can be next time. I'll throw an extra bag in there for you. Oh, if you lost some luggage, it was probably me. My bad, I was high that day. African names, though, like, yeah, I gotta be honest with you. African names, I think that they're a little bit too extra. You know, it's a lot going on. They're long. Too many vowels, consonants, too many twists, turns. You know why I blame for this shit? Our parents. Because they give us these names, send us off into the world, and then weird shit happens. I'll give you an example. I have an African friend of mine. I know he's African because he's my brother. This guy's name is, I won't say it, but I'll spell it for you. It is spelled M-A-N-I-G-A. White people, I know you said it. M-A-N-I-G-A. One of those letters is silent. You just got to figure out which one. M-A-N-I-G-A. This guy must be a nightmare for anyone who works at Starbucks. I can't imagine how that order goes. I have a frappuccino here for, Oh, Jesus Christ. I should have called in sick today. Come on, man, try. I have a frappuccino here for my... Oof. I'm about to lose my job. Come on, try, Travis, try. I have a frappuccino here for my black friend. White people do not try retelling that joke at work. It's not gonna work out. You're gonna be like, I saw this comedian, his name is my nigga. Right there, and then HR will be like, right this way, sir. It's your last day. Do not do it. Names are important. Very important. You gotta be careful the names you give your kids. You know, it's like, I know this because even my wife and I, we're talking about this right now. We're like, yo, if we have kids, what names are we going to give them? I'll give you context. My wife and I have very different names. She has all American names. I have all African names. If we have kids, we don't know what to do. But the other day, I was like, you know what? I think I have an idea. If we have 2 kids, I'm going to give the first kid all American names. Then I'm going to give the second kid all African names and see which one goes the furthest in life. Seattle, I'll come back in 20 years and let you know how my little experiment went. I'll be hilarious if the one with African names did better than the one with American names. I'm like, Travis, man, I gave you everything. You're still fucked up. Who's drinking tonight? Make some noise if you're, yeah? Cheers, yeah. Drinking White Claw with a straw. That's where I'm at. It makes it easier while I'm performing. I don't have to, pour. Yeah, I never understood American drinking culture when I moved here, because I'll give you context. I moved here on 4th of July. Yeah, Americans, let me tell you, you will never understand how confusing it is to arrive in a country where everyone's blackout drunk during the day. I had to check my boarding pass. I was like, did I go to Ireland? But you know what they say, when in America, do like the Irish do. Especially on 4th of July. So straight from for the airport, I had my bags with me. I run to an establishment like this, and I was like, hey, bartender, I just came from Uganda. I see what's going on. It's fun. Put me in, coach. It's like, get me the best American beer you have. And he looks at me. He's like, oh, son, welcome to America. I just got to see some ID. Confidently, I whip out my ID. I show it to him. He looks down, looks up, and he was like, son, you got to be 21 to drink beer in America. I'm sorry, I'm asked you to leave. I was confused. For context, I'm from Uganda where the drinking age is 18. Maybe. Fast forward, I go to college and my American friends, when they'll turn 21, they'll go fucking crazy. Theme song from my college days was Lil Jon's Shots, Shots, Shots. I was like, yo, what's the big deal? I've been drinking since I was 10. So I had to do some research on this. So for my final thesis in college, I told my professor, that's what I'm going to write about. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to find out why these two cultures are so different when it comes down to alcohol. You know why it is? I found out why. It comes down to the parents. Yeah. See, in America, you had American parents yelling at their kids like, hey, Travis! You do look like a Travis. Yeah, American parents are like, hey, Travis, eat up your food. There's starving kids in Africa. At the same time, you had African parents yelling at their kids like, hey, drink up, there's sober kids in America. I even saw UNICEF commercials where the biggest celebrities will come out. They'll be like, this is Travis. He's been sober his entire life. You can help him. for less than $2 a day, you can buy him a 40. I hated it. I hated going from a culture where I could drink like an adult to a culture where I could not. So I had to do something about it. I don't know if you remember when you're not 21. You remember what you did? You know, you find someone older to buy you alcohol, like a crackhead. There was just this guy wandering around the school. You know, I was like, yo, I don't know what the cutoff for crack is, but if he can buy crack, he can buy me a 40. We had a good relationship. I give him money. I'm like, hey, here, give me some beer. And then he keeps the change. He buys his crack. Good relationship. We had a good relationship until he started to question my beer choices. Yeah, one day I gave him a 20. I was like, here, bro, give me some Bud Light. And he goes, Bud Light? Ew. I was like, bro, you smoke crack. How are you going to question my beer choices? So we broke up. Yeah, I miss my man, my only crack friend I ever had. So I had to do the next best thing, which is you get a fake ID. Okay? Again, if there are any cops here, this was a long time ago. I've turned my life around. I'm with Jesus now. Right? Fake ID was great because it had my name, it had my address. Not only can I buy my own alcohol, I can go to an establishment like this, sit down like a grown adult. So first day with my fake ID, I woke up to the bar. I was like, hey, bartender, I'm here. He's like, you don't have to announce yourself. He's like, can I see some ID? Confidently, I whip out, I show it to him. He looks down, looks up, and he's like, oh, Birungi, right? Is that how you say it? Birungi? I was like, yeah, that's me. From Nebraska. You tell me they got Birungis in Nebraska? That's a short version of how I lost my fake ID. Didn't get to use it once. Yeah, so from Uganda, I have to say that when I'm on stage, because it gives you context. Also, if I don't do it, weird shit happens. Yeah, I've been to shows like this. I'm performing. It looks like we're having a good time. And then halfway through, I'll hear a whisper. Usually it goes something like this. Where do you think he's from? I think he's from Jamaica. Oh, no. I think he's from Oklahoma. You're thinking of Vanessa. I have to tell people, but sometimes I'm hesitant because I don't know how they're going to react. Also, it comes with a lot of questions. When people find out I'm from Uganda, lots of questions, all right? Here's one I get all the time. They ask me when they find out, they're like, oh my God, Birungi, from Uganda. It's like, how did you get here? Short answer, plain, yeah? But I know what they mean. They always ask you, like, what motivates you to move from Uganda to here? I'll tell you what happened. I went to high school in Uganda. Right before I graduated, I was walking around campus one day. I found this brochure, and it was an exchange program to Seattle, Washington. I ran home to my dad. I was like, hey, Dad, I want to spread my wings. I want to move to America for the rest of my high school. My dad is a little bit old school. He's like, no, my son, don't do it. I was like, what's the problem, Dad? He goes to his bedroom, comes back with a Seattle Times newspaper. Yeah. I had no idea that this guy had a Seattle Times subscription in Uganda. And this particular paper had a story. You might have heard of it. It was a sex scandal. Oh, no. Involving a high school teacher. Okay, if you're from Washington, you know about this. Her name was Mary Kay. All right, let me give you context. At the time, she was a 40-year-old white woman who banged one of her students, a 14-year-old Samoan boy. My dad shows it to me. He's like, look, my son, Americans are crazy. Look what will happen to you. I was like, Dad, I think you just made up my mind for me. What kind of threat is that? Don't go to America, you lose your virginity. Needless to say, I flew here on Virgin Airlines. First class. So again, I tell people, but then again, it comes with lots of questions. I'll share one more. I went to a fundraiser not too long ago, and I was chatting with this lady. We're having a good discussion until she started to ask one too many questions. You know, she's like, oh my God, you from Uganda? I was like, yeah. She's like, that's in Africa. I was like, you guessed it. It's like we had our own little game right there. She's like, oh my God, what kind of neighborhood did you grow up in? I was like, duh, a black neighborhood, yeah. And then she hit me with one of those. She was like, oh my God, you have a little bit of an accent. Are you sure that's where you grew up? I was like, yeah. And then she goes, aw. You ever tell someone where you're from and they go, aw? Like, Mrs., where you from? Me? Yes. What? Aw. Did you feel that? It hurts. You know what that aw means? They imagine your life is different from their life. That's what they're trying to say. And growing up from Africa, people imagine my life is drastically different from a kid that grows up in America. It's not. Kids are the same everywhere you go, down to the smallest detail. I'll prove it to you. If you grew up in America, clap your hands if you hated going to school as a kid. Anybody? Yeah. Different continent, same experience, same emotion. Clap your hands if you went as far as pretending to be sick so you would not go to school. Me too. My go-to was malaria. Yeah, work up a fever. I'm like, it's on CNN. It must be true. COVID was not available at the time. Worked like a charm. Until a man came along. He actually came from this city. His name is Bill Gates. With his anti-malarial medicine. What kind of witchcraft is this? Bill Gates may be a philanthropist to some of you, but that man ruined sick days for millions of African kids. What I'm trying to say is, fuck Bill Gates. You can tell him I said it. I bet his wife agrees with me. Was it something I said? Too soon? No. Lots of questions. I'll share one that's unique to me as a Ugandan comedian, because I talk to my American comedian friends and they don't experience this. It's like right after I get off stage, I'll go to the back and someone will accost me. They're like, yo, Birungi, great show. But quick question. I don't mean to be rude, but I noticed your English. It's really good. Did you speak English before you came to America? Short answer, yes. Long answer, I learned my English from movies. Specifically, James Bond movies. I don't know if you've seen James Bond. He does not miss his words. He loves that part. Big James Bond fan. But you know, you've seen the movies, especially when they catch him, they ask him like, hey, what's your name? And he goes, Bond. James Bond. Firm, clear. That's the guy you want to learn English from. But James Bond almost ruined my chances of coming to America. Because I was on the plane, you know, I'm reciting, I'm watching all the movies, getting ready for immigration. And then I pull up to the airport, step off the airplane. Immigration officer's like, step forward, sir. What's your name? And I'm thinking, James Bond energy. James Bond energy. Birungi. Birungi. He's like, welcome to America. I just got to ask you a couple questions. What's the reason for you visiting America? And I'm thinking, James Bond energy, James Bond energy. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. You guys laugh. He was not impressed. He's like, I'm going to ask you one more time. What's the reason for visiting, and how long are you going to be here? I'm like, I'm going to be here for as long as it takes. I'm on a mission impossible. He's like, step aside, sir. Do you have any weapons on you? I'm like, this watch could kill you from 40 yards away. All I'm saying is James Bond is not a good role model for immigrants. That shit only works if you're British. So yeah, I speak English. I speak 6 other languages. Yeah. You clap until you find out I cannot use any of them in America. Like, I've never been to a job interview. They look at my resume, they're like, Swahili? Oh my God, we've been looking for you. Welcome to T-Mobile. When can you start? Yeah, but other than that, it sounds like I'm complaining, but I actually like being a Ugandan comedian. I also like comedy in general, and what I love about it is the compliments. People give compliments after shows. Yeah, you got some nice shit to say, I want to hear it. Keeps me young, keeps me healthy. But sometimes I don't know where the compliments are going. Like, I did a show in Tacoma just a week ago, and this lady comes up to me after the show. She's like, oh my God, Birungi, you're the Ugandan comedian, right? I was like, God, that was all my material. And then she lights up. She's like, oh my God, you're from Uganda? You from Uganda? My sandals are from Uganda. Someone in Uganda made these sandals. I was like, lady, I don't know what to do with this information. It's not like I walk up to Chinese people and I'm like, hey, your cousin made this shoe. Never happens. Snort, I like that. I'm taking you on tour. Yeah, so that's me. That's my story. We're going to take a quick left turn here. Clap your hands if you've been to a comedy show before. Okay, mostly this section. Some of you never been to a comedy show. Let me tell you this. I might let you know the insider secrets. When you go to comedy shows, comedians say a lot of shit. Some of it is truth, some of it is lies. We'll come up here and say things like, it's nice to see you. I'm here for the $12 they promised me. I was at home chilling. Angela's like, do you want $12? I was like, I'll be right there. I put $50 in my car to come get $12. But ever since the pandemic, if you go to a comedy show and a comedian says, hey, it's nice to see you, they mean that shit. Okay? So from the bottom of my heart, give it up for each and every one of you. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate you. I'll tell you why. COVID ruined my life. I know that sounds redundant to say. But COVID put me in a weird position where I had to quit my hobby and get a job. Yeah, I was on stage doing comedy. Next thing I knew, I was sitting in a cubicle. Who here sits in a cubicle? You lying motherfuckers. This is Seattle. I know there's some cubicle people here. Cubicles are weird. There's one exit. There's the saddest places ever. But there's one thing I don't understand about cubicles, which is most of my coworkers have photos of their family members in their cubicle. You seen this? I think I saw a cubicle lady, one cubicle. Yeah, cubicle guy. You've seen this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, like every cubicle you go to is like mom, dad, sister. And I asked one of my coworkers, I was like, yo, why y'all got photos of your family in your cubicle? And he goes, it's for motivation. Motivation. You want to be motivated, cubicle man? Come to my cubicle. My cubicle is filled with photos of people I owe money. Yeah, you come over there, you're like, oh my God, is that your grandpa? I'm like, no. That's my 60-year-old Asian landlord. I owe him $300,000. Oh my God, she's so cute. Is that your wife? No. That's a stripper that takes my money. every month. Oh my God, is that your dad? Yes, actually, that's my dad. I owe him money too. The young ones are laughing, the dads not so much. Yeah, got the job, had to, and then, I had to work my way through, get the vax. I had to get the vax. Did you guys get the vax? Yeah. Clap your hands if you did. Yeah. That wasn't everybody. Some of you are still holding out. You're like, we got essential oils. I put some lavender on my nose, I'll be fine. I eat a banana every morning. I'm gonna be transparent with you guys. As a comedian, I had to get it. All the venues that I was doing, I had to get it. But if you didn't get the vax, I understand where you're coming from. Okay? Because here's what happened. Everyone makes it seem obvious right now that, hey, you get the vax. It wasn't that obvious. At some point, it was like 60-40, 64, 40 against. I was one of the skeptical ones. I'm not going to lie. Because when the vaccine came out, I had to do some research. Not in a lab. I did it online like everybody else. And I learned about some shit. I learned about the Tuskegee experiments. Y'all heard about this? Okay, a few of you. Okay, for those who do not know, back in the day, the U.S. government experimented on black people. So when the vaccine came out, I called all my black friends. I was like, yo, are we doing this? And most of my black friends were like, no, man, the last time we did, yeah. But unlike my friends, thankfully for me, I got someone at home. My wife. Yeah, for context, wait a minute. For context, she's not a scientist. But she's white. I was like, hey, babe, get in the car. She's like, where are we going? I was like, you are getting vaccinated. I wanted to see if this shit works for white women before I commit. We drive to the tent. She's getting the vax. I'm hiding behind the tent. I'm like, oh boy. I did that thing like, you ever go to get an x-ray and they put a metal vest on you and you're like, is this safe? And they go, yeah, you good, yeah. That was me behind the tent. She was like, is this safe? I was like, babe, go ahead. You good. Soon as I saw that shit worked for white women, I was like, give it to me. I'll take all 2 doses on the same day. One to the right, one to the left. They meet in the middle. That's where COVID lives. You gotta pay attention. Pay attention. I'm talking to the black people right now. Brother, pay attention to what white women are doing. Brother, you too, pay attention. If it's good for white women, it's good for you. If it's bad for white women, it's bad for you. That's why I don't do opioids. But I'll take a pumpkin spice latte any day. White women, give it up for yourselves. That wasn't easy. My favorite thing during this time has been traveling to different cities and noticing how different cities encourage people to get vaccinated. All right? Like I was in Florida. They were giving out lollipops. Yeah, you get a shot, you get a lollipop. I went to Atlanta, Georgia. They were giving out lap dances. That's where I got my shots. All 13 of them. They're like, well, you were here yesterday. I'm like, it's COVID, it's pretty serious. I'm not taking any chances. And then I came back to Washington and I realized you guys were using traffic signs to encourage people to get vaccinated. Have you seen this? I don't know if they're still out. Yeah. It's like you'll be driving on I-5, you look up, it says Washington, max up, vax up. You seen this? I'm like, yo, your governor thinks we actually pay attention to traffic signs. You want to catch my attention while I drive? Just text me like a normal person. Yeah. Judging by the laughter, a lot of you text and drive. God forbid you crash your car while texting. You know, you're driving, you crash your car, you fall out, your body's lying lifeless on the road. Your phone is still clasped in your hands. The paramedics show up, they're like, oh my God, he's dead. Time of death, 9:45. Cause of death, COVID. That joke helps me identify where the Republicans are seated. Yeah? I see you. It ain't easy. I know. It's incentives. Isn't it weird though? We've had all kinds of diseases in history, all kinds of pandemics. This is the first time we use traffic signs to manage the pandemic or the disease. Can you picture that? We missed a lot of opportunities. Like, think about this. 50s, we had polio. Could have used traffic signs. Missed opportunity. 80s, we had AIDS. Could have used traffic signs. You picture that? Washington, you're driving on I-5. You look up, the sign says, Washington, stop fucking. Could have saved a lot of lives. Missed opportunity. I'm gonna do one more. Split this room a little bit more. Okay, here's my theory when it comes to the vax, okay? You're an adult, you want the vax. If you don't have it right now, you don't want it, we get it. If you want it, you got it, right? But I don't think that's where the debate is. The debate now is on kids. Mandatory vaccination for kids. COVID vaccination, mandatory. How does this room feel about this? Clap your hands if you're 4. All right, all 6 of you. Clap your hands if you're against. All 5 of you. And the others are stereotypical Seattle people. I have an opinion, but I won't say. Let me settle it. Because I have an opinion, and I think it's the best opinion. Here's what I say, okay? Adult, you want the vax, get in your car, drive to that tent, get it. Kids, I don't think all kids should get vaccinated. Let me substantiate that. Talented kids, absolutely. Vaccinate those kids. 4.0 GPA, yes. 3.5 and below, stay the fuck home. You know. I heard you have nurture immunity. Let's see how that plays out. I know, that's a tough one. There's a lot of tough ones today. But yeah, I don't know, it's just America. There's the one place that they beg you. They beg you to take the shots. They beg you, oh, please, please take it. Only in America. I'll tell you this. I have a brother. He lives back home in Uganda, in Africa. This guy works for the government. He's been walking around with 1 shot for 13 months. I live in America. I got all 13 shots. Am I the better one? No. I just live in America. Okay, you guys are pulling back a little bit. Let me bring it home, okay? It's the 50s, all right? The government, there's a virus going around. The virus is called polio. They discover a vaccine, and the government is like, you get, each family, you get 1 shot, all right? You're a dad, you're a father, your name is Joe Jackson. You have 5 kids called the Jackson 5. Which kid are you gonna give the vax to? You're not gonna give it to Jermaine. The world wants to see the moonwalk, not the guy who plays the tambourine. You're gonna give it to Michael. Okay, I know there's a flaw in this joke, which is some audience member accosted me the other day. They were like, how about Janet? I was like, you know what? That's a good point. She's got a good titty. I might give it to Janet Jackson. All right. I'm going to go in a different direction. I got like 5 minutes left, and then we'll wrap it up. I like doing comedy. I like going to all these different places. One of the places I went to recently, I went to Portland, Oregon. I know there's Portland people are here in the house. I like Portland. Portland is like a mini Seattle. They have a lot of tourist attractions, you know, like donuts, strip clubs. I guess I just like things with holes in them. My only frustration with Portland is the gas stations. Have you been to the gas stations in Portland? You've been to them? I don't know if you know this, you can't fuel your own car in Portland. And the whole state is okay with this. It's okay with it. Here's how ridiculous it is. I cannot think of any other time that I would walk to a man with a face tattoo and hand him my credit card. You let him out of your sight. You're like, I think he's coming back. You're like, oh my, it's okay. You guys think I'm overreacting. It's the one time I have to look another grown man in the face and say the words, "Fill me up." I usually do it myself, but I'll sit here. You do all the pumping. Pump away, good sir. And then, you know, inevitably he's going to ask you, he's like, do you want a receipt? I'm like, receipt? I don't want anybody to ever know about this. This is between you and me. Portland was fun. I went to Boston. That's one other place I went to. I don't know if you've heard this theory. Boston, at least I see it from the movies, like the Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, the movies that are based in Boston. Like Boston people are supposed to be tough, you know? Is that muscles? Is that what they call it? You know, they're supposed to be gritty. It's a tough city. Coming from Seattle, I wanted to investigate that. I was in Boston for 2 days. We had 2 inches of rain, and everyone had an umbrella. That's not a tough city. I'm from Seattle. It rains. You wear tank top sandals and walk in the rain like RoboCop. I have a theory. I think that's how terrorists choose cities they're going to hit. Yeah, they Google you. They see everyone's got umbrellas and sandals. They're like, oh, that's where we're going. I think that's why Seattle's never been attacked. Have you thought about that? Like they Google us, they look at, they're like, oh no, they're already sad. There's nothing we can do to them that they haven't already done to themselves. Seattle, Portland. Yeah, I dig it though. I dig it. I love doing comedy. I'll share one product that I'm pitching tonight. So I feel like we live in a polarized society. There's a lot going on. Let's actually check something real quick. I've been going to these small towns, and I've realized like American nationalism is at like an all-time low. And I see that when I ask people how they feel about 4th of July. How do we feel about 4th of July? Woo! Do you feel that? You know, the energy is down, which is weird because personally, as an immigrant, 4th of July is my favorite public holiday. Me and her. Different reasons, though. I'll tell you why I love 4th of July. I love 4th of July because it's the best time for me to take photos for immigration. I don't know about you Americans, but I have to audition to stay here every year. And when you go for those interviews, they ask you questions like, do you love America? Can you prove it? I'm like, wait till you see my 4th of July pictures. I'm like, this is me fucked up at 8 a.m. It's me throwing up at 10 a.m. But like a true American, 1 p.m. I was back on the horse. I love it. I love 4th of July, but I also find it a little bit traumatizing. Here's why. I find it traumatizing because it reminds me of my citizenship test, which I took and failed. Yeah, don't feel sorry. It's not because I'm stupid. It's your history. It's too long. It's like Game of Thrones. It's too late to get into it. I came here in 2008. I answered Obama for everything. They were like, who discovered the state of Hawaii? I'm like, Obama's from Hawaii. All right, Obama. They're like, who ended slavery? I'm like, trick question, but I'm going to go with the black guy. And then finally they hit me with this one. They were like, he was a former slave. He escaped and taught himself how to read and write. I was like, bro, these are getting too easy. Everyone knows that's Morgan Freeman. It's right in the name, free man. So, like I said, we live in a polarized society, so I found something that we can all agree on, printed it, put it on a shirt. You can buy these shirts after the show. I'll be in the back. $20 a piece, Cash App, Venmo, Bitcoin, whatever you got. This is what it says. Ugandan comedians matter. You can find me outside. It goes well with anything you're wearing, booty shorts, MAGA hat, whatever you... I'll close with this. I've been to lots of places for comedy, but by far the craziest place I ever went for comedy was Qatar. What? Yeah. I was there to record a podcast, so I had all this podcasting equipment with me. As soon as I stepped out of the airport, I got pulled over by Qatar police. They don't play over there. Yeah, one of the officers, searches my trunk. He finds the podcasting equipment, yanks it out, and he's holding it at a distance. He's like, yo, is this a bomb? I was like, yo, for a country that exports terrorism, you don't know shit about bombs. Like 6 feet works for COVID, it don't work for bombs. He did not like that. He called for backup. Within 5 minutes, I was surrounded by Qatar police. 5 minutes. You know why they get there quick? They drive fast cars. You know what kind of cars they drive? Ferraris. Yeah, 5 minutes. I was surrounded by Ferrari cop cars in a foreign country. I'm a black man. I feared for my life. My heart dropped. I was like, oh my God. I'm about to ride in a Ferrari. Last Comedy Club, good night. Thank you for your time.
Yes! Thank you all for coming out. This is great. There's comedy here Wednesday through Saturday. There's a class you can take if you want to do this. I wouldn't recommend it against it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate you a lot. Good night.